Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. May I now take privilege to request our Chief Executive and Chancellor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Memon and Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Feroz Memon to please kindly come forward and present the souvenir to the guest house session. May I now request Dr. Imran Kalbani to please kindly come forward and receive the souvenir. It's my great pleasure to invite our next esteemed speaker, Dr. Iram Kalbani, who has joined us all the way from Canada, where she is serving as dedicated family physician. Her journey, commitment, and continued passion for patient care are truly inspiring. Today, she will sharing her insights on a subject that affects millions of people in worldwide gastroesophageal reflux disease.
I will start with the recitation from Shah Latif's famous Shahjo Risalo. Pani Jalla Jalalahu, Pani Jan Jamal. Pani Surat Priyaji, Pani Husn Kamal. Pani Pir Murid thiye, Pani Pan Khayal. Sab Sabohi Hal, Manjahi Malum thiye. Respected faculty members, clinicians, academicians, distinguished guests. It is indeed a unique privilege and honor. I will fall short of words. I'm standing here on the very soil of Sindh, a place where I was born and brought up. I have my teachers in front of me, and therefore I'm really overwhelmed. और इसीलिए मैं पहले से ही माजरत कर रही हूँ, अगर कोई भी भूल चूक हो जाए तो मुझे माफ़ कीजिएगा. To be able to be among such esteemed doctors, physicians, my teachers, one feels a star herself. Extremely grateful to the Chancellor, Mr. Bal Memon, and Vice Chancellor Sahab, Professor Dr. Feroz Memon, for giving me this unique opportunity. Thank you very much. I am indeed very humbled and honored. I was asked, for all those who don't know me, my name is Iram Kalbani. I'm a family physician with special interest in women's health, mental health, and chronic illnesses. I was trained at the University of British Columbia, and currently I'm working in Toronto, Canada. And right now, my focus is, as I said, mental health, chronic illnesses. When I was asked to present on GERD, I thought, let's make it a bit more interesting. And total disclosure, I have an attention span of a snail. So that is why I know how it is, people lose interest. And that is why I wanted to keep it interactive and wanted to keep it different. We all know the pathology of GERD. We all know the first line of treatment. We all know about the potential complications. So let's first talk about some atypical presentations of GERD. And by the way, all these cases that I will be discussing today were seen by myself in my primary care throughout these years. Now, why is GERD important? About 20% of cases in Western world comprise of GERD. And many of them come with very atypical presentations. And those are the ones that we are going to talk. We all know the various complications that are caused by GERDs, whether it is Barrett's, whether it is esophagitis, whether it is even peptic ulcer, bleeding peptic ulcer, or even cancer. It impacts the quality of life, obviously. Anyone who has actually taken a big nihari at night and goes to sleep without taking the pantoprazole or esomeprazole knows it interferes with the quality of life, it interferes with your sleep, and obviously you are less productive the next day. And a lot of times, because of those atypical presentations, they remain undiagnosed or underdiagnosed. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the very first presentation. Now, this was a 35-year-old person, and he came with chronic cough. Now, we all know we have some bias. Over years, we know, we see a particular person, they came with some particular history, हमें पता होता है, oh, the person comes with chronic cough, and in a country like Canada, where it is very common to have asthma, it is very common to have allergic rhinitis, postnasal drip, we become a little biased. Now, the only one thing that stood out in this person was, he said, my cough is worse at night and after meals. So that was the differentiating points. So he was about 35 years old. We gave him some, the usual inhaled SABA, Ventolin, Flovent, inhaled corticosteroids, but the patient still did not improve. And then upon further dwelling, we found out that his cough is actually worse after meals. And that is when we thought about giving him a pantoprazole. I started with a pantoprazole 40 milligrams twice a day for about 2 weeks, went down to 40 milligrams once a day for about 4 weeks, and his symptoms resolved. So, the key points. What were the key points? Number one, a person comes in, classic asthma symptoms, cough is worse at night, but cough can also be worse after meals. Asthma therapy was ineffective, it was worse after night, and it improved with the PPI trial. This case highlights about 40% of the patients with chronic cough. Again, in a country like Canada, even in UK, where there's a lot of greenery, we get biased because asthma is very prevalent. So keep that in mind. If you have a patient who is coming with chronic cough, not improving after the usual asthma therapy, think about GERD. Now, this is a very interesting one. I've changed the details of the patients for patient confidentiality. This particular patient was a very nice person. They would come, अब मैं ज़रा उर्दू में बात करती हूँ, बहुत इंग्लिश हो गई. ये खातून जो थी वो कनाडा में रहती थी सिर्फ 4-5 महीने, आती थी अप्रैल में, मई में, और वहाँ पे वो सिंगिंग करती थी और she used to collect money. And she would go and spend the rest of the time in Mexico, जहाँ उन्होंने कुछ यतीम खाने बनाए हुए थे. तो जाहिर है उनका not only उनका livelihood उनकी आवाज़ पे depend करता था, बहुत सारे और लोगों का livelihood उनकी आवाज़ पे depend करता था. And she comes and she says she was a middle-aged woman, और अचानक से उनकी voice, she had an absolute loss of voice. Now, anyone who knows here, कुछ red flags होते हैं जो हमें बताए जाते हैं कि these are absolute red flags, and this is one of the red flags. A middle-aged person comes with a sudden loss of voice. So, obviously, we thought it is ENT related. Maybe it's a tumor, maybe it is something else, it's a malignancy. Right away sent her to ENT, and thankfully the ENT saw her within 2 weeks. She was found to have some edema and some edema of the vocal folds. So that's when we found out that this an absolute lack of voice, अचानक से उनकी आवाज़ ख़त्म हो गई. It was not because of anything else, it was indeed because of her GERD. We gave her a trial of PPIs and she got better. So the take-home message again, voice loss, there was no reflux. The very interesting thing was she'd never had any dyspepsia, she'd never had any heartburn, she'd never had any gastric-related symptoms. So don't get misled by the lack of these symptoms or the presence of their own. And this one was a very interesting one. This was a middle-aged woman, she was 40 plus, of Pakistani descent. और कोविड में वो जा नहीं सकी थी पाकिस्तान, और उनको बहुत याद आ रही थी अपनी खानों की. And she came to Pakistan after the COVID restrictions were loosened up. She ended up eating a lot of spicy food. And she ended up having a severe substernal pain to the extent that when she would swallow, she actually had pain. So everybody thought, in med school हमें कहा जाता है, every chest pain is heart attack until proven otherwise. और एक और भी जुमला है कि every woman is pregnant until proven otherwise. तो ये सारी चीज़ें जो है वो हमने दिमाग में रखी, सारा ACS workup करवाया, and at the end, this is what we found out. Again, ECG was normal, serial troponins were normal, CT angio was normal, she did not have any aortic pathology, no coarctation of aorta, nothing at all. And so the key take-home messages were, number one, substernal chest pains. It was an 8 to 9 out of 10 pain. It was a typical cardiac sounding pain. ECG was normal, TROPS were normal, and all the examination was normal. And we ended up having a scope done for her, and she had severe GERD. She was put on IV pantoprazole for about a week, and then transitioned to oral pantoprazole, and then PPIs. I should be saying PPIs. Sorry about that. And she got better. So again, the take-home message is GERD can closely imitate cardiac ischemia, and reflux should be considered only after the negative cardiac workup. Now, this one was also a very interesting one, and this was a young woman. And for all those who have been or had a chance to work in the Western countries, हमारे पास mental health बहुत है. Especially in teenagers, we have all kind of mental health, from ADHD to anxiety to PTSD to bulimia and body dysmorphic syndrome. We have a lot of it. So unfortunately, again, our bias came here. Dentist examined the patient. Dentist ने मुझे भेजा कि she's an 18-year-old and we found dental erosion. तो सिर्फ ये जुमला लिखा था और कुछ भी नहीं लिखा था. And obviously, again, हमारा bias आ जाता है. And dental erosion in a teenager, first thing comes कि कोई eating disorder हो सकता है, bulimia हो सकता है, anorexia, whatever. She obviously denied. Now, in 90% of the bulimic patients, they actually deny. So that was, we still took it very seriously. We asked her all the questions. She had progressive dental enema. She denied heartburn. However, she admitted to occasional nighttime regurg. So, हिफ्ज़े मा तक़द्दुम के तौर पे हमने उस पेशेंट को स्कोप के लिए भेजा, and as a result we found out that she had severe reflux symptoms. Again, take home message: progressive enamel wear, no classic GERD symptoms, nighttime regurgitation, and on endoscopy she had mild esophagitis. So this case illustrates how dentists can often detect GERD before the clinicians do. And this is exactly what happened here. Even though the dentist did not suspect GERD itself, but dentists did see that, and this is now the responsibility of the dentist to communicate it with the family physicians.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Feroz Memon, thank you very much once again
for giving me this opportunity. Bahut shukriya.
Thank you, madam.
A very nice and elaborated lecture with good examples of clinical cases. But what is here going in Pakistan, that is a very huge scenario of NSAIDs. That's why every person is taking omeprazole necessarily, and the sale of omeprazole is on the top. Why? Because I do not blame to anyone. We all are involved in making our patients' misery more miserable. Cardiologists, they are giving aspirins, and they are not thinking that this aspirin is the cause of dyspepsia. The rheumatologists, they are giving NSAIDs, and they are unaware that their NSAID is causing the problem. The orthopedic, ENT persons, the chest physicians using steroid, ENT person using NSAIDs. So the family physician role is very essential. And not only this one, surgical post-operative patients in gynae ward, in surgery ward, they are having tremendous amount of NSAIDs, and these are causing tremendous amount of peptic ulceration. Not only this, Hakims, they are using steroids, they are using the pills which they say can relieve any type of pain. Not only this one, the shopkeepers, the vendors, they are selling gutka, mainpuri, niswar, and other things. So not only this, the restaurants, KFC, McDonald's, they are giving fatty food. Rich in these fatty food can cause gastroesophageal reflux. So what to say? That is one thing. कि मैं यही कहूँगा कि यहाँ पे कहना ऐसा ही है कि मैं एक अपने मरीज़ को बड़ी देर से समझा रहा था, काउंसलिंग कर रहा था, तो हमारे यहाँ सब डिपार्टमेंट ऐसे ही हैं. 5 मिनट बाद मरीज़ के अटेंडेंट ने बोला, साईं ही तो बोड़ो आए. तो मुझे हुआ कि हाँ ये तो सुन ही नहीं सकता। तो जब समझ में आया कि हम जिनके सामने बोलते हैं न वो सुन सकते हैं न वो देख सकते हैं।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, a very nice presentation and of clinical cases by Dr. Iram Kalbani, and thank you so much Dr. Iqbal Memon, Professor Firoz Memon, who has invited. Thank you Dr. Madhia. And we all know that the prevalence of GERD has been increasing in not only Pakistan, throughout the world. And as we know that if we can, prevention is better than the cure. अगर पेशेंट को obesity है तो you have to reduce the weight, and if you can reduce the weight up to 5 to 7%, then the symptom is automatically subsided. If patient is taking more caffeine and spicy food, so we can prevent the symptom by these means. Once the patient come to you with the symptom of heart burning, the best advice and the wise advice is that so we can start with the PPI for only 2-week trials, and we can evaluate after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, if symptom is persist and better, we can go for intervention. As we know that there is a lot of complication with PPIs. It can cause the osteopenia, osteoporosis, hypomagnesemia, and if we will not left untreated the patient, then what happens, the complication has been arise. Patient may develop after the GERD with buried esophagus, can develop the patient adenocarcinoma, and as Dr. Iram told that it can cause the atypical symptom like asthma, pneumonia, and other symptoms. So to prevent that complication, we can also go for some intervention as well. So this is as message that the prevention of GERD has been increased, especially in Pakistan. So we can try to control what things are controllable. Thank you so much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Dr. Mohammad Nawan Sheikh. I think Dr. Iram Kalbani has very precise presentation, and they have covered a lot of points regarding about GERD. I'm with all point, but the lifestyle modification remain the ultimate solution of the GERD. So we have to more emphasis on the lifestyle modification as compared to the treatment. Thank you.